In times of trouble, I recommend a powerful tool. And the tool is to ask yourself, how did I create this? Now, this is not an easy tool, and it's not a tool for every occasion. If you want to try it, let's go for it. It looks like this. First of all, really, you start by rolling up your sleeves. I'm not exaggerating, because to ask the question, how did I create this? It's work. Because the first thing that I usually do when something goes wrong is I look around and figure out who's to blame. And it's never me. Now, of course, when I ask the question, how did I create this? I'm not looking for how I'm going to blame myself. Because if I do that, then I'm still operating in the same victim paradigm that I'm operating in when I feel like somebody else is to blame. What I'm recommending is that you step out of the victim paradigm. The victim paradigm looks like this. There's always a victim, and then there's a persecutor or a villain, and then we're looking for the good guy, somebody to come in and rescue us. Now that's one way to look at life, but I'm recommending a whole different way, which is that instead of feeling like the victim, you see if you really can't be the victor by changing how things are going in your future. There are victims. There really are times when things aren't going well for you, that you just realize that you did not create it. You had nothing to do with it. You were just the innocent victim of somebody else's perpetrations, in which case, don't use this technique. But sometimes we just feel like the victim, and we could actually turn ourselves into the victor. Well, it looks like this. You say, with your sleeves rolled up, how did I create that? And generally what happens instantly is your brain says, well, I didn't have anything to do with it. It's really Joe's fault. It's really the economy's fault. It's really the culture's fault. But so stop, because remember, this is hard work, and ask yourself again, I know there's other people involved, but how did I create this? Well, I realized that I didn't do ba-da-da-da-da-da. I didn't do ba-dee-da-dee-da-dee. And I did do ba-da-da-dum and ba-da-da-la. So in other words, you're thinking, you're asking, how did I create this? And then once the ideas start to come to mind, write them down. And start your list of what you did to produce the situation that you're in. Of course, other people did do a lot to create your situation, but you don't have any ability to change those. What you do have ability to change is yourself. So once you have that list, then you have power. Now initially, that list that we make, it's bad news. We look at it and it's like, oh no, oh, I did that, and I did that, and I didn't do that, and I didn't do that, and I didn't do that, and I did that. No wonder I'm here. No wonder I'm in this situation. So initially, that's bad news. But instantly, it can be great news. You can move from being the victim to the victor, because now you're in charge. You're responsible. You have some actions that you can take. You've got your list to be able to make things differently from now forward. And that's the power of asking yourself, how did I create this? There is a danger here, because sometimes when people make their list, they look at the list and they say, oh, I see, it's my fault. I'm to blame. I feel so ashamed. But there's no power in that. That puts you right back into that paradigm of victim, rescuer, and villain. And this time, you've put yourself into that role of villain. So when you get your list, don't say, oh, I'm such a villain. I'm bad. I'm shameful. No. You just say, that's what I did. I made a mistake. And now I can change it because I've got my list. I'm in charge. I've moved completely out of that paradigm, and I've moved into a whole nother area where I am the victor. Well, that's a great idea, but it's worthless unless you put it into practice. So please take the time now to think of a moment when you were feeling like the victim, and then ask yourself that question, how did I create it? Make the list, and then look at that list and see if you can turn things around. Not so you feel like the villain, but now that you do feel like the victor. And then let me know how that worked. In the boxes right below, just write down what you learned about yourself and how you intend to act differently. Thanks for your interaction.